So recently I received this response to a tweet about Michael Whitman, the SS tank commander who was killed during Operation Totalize in Normandy in a really unflattering way, which I'm never going to stop doing and enjoy doing it very much. So other than the attempts of this person to insult me by calling me not a historian, even though I think it's pretty fair to say that I am, based on my qualifications and work, which is that of a historian. I wanted to talk about their issue here with calling me too biased. This is a major problem in history, in my opinion, anyway. I'm coming at this topic of bias from my own experience, my own work, and all of that. This isn't a look at the historiography or the philosophy of bias and all of that. It's just kind of giving my own opinion about how I think about it and where this comes from. To say someone is too biased, I think misses the point completely. We're all biased in how we go about everything that we do. We have bias of language, experience, nationality, gender, sexual identities, all numerous things you want to talk about is a form of bias. So with that said, it's something we can never get rid of. You can never get rid of a bias in terms of your work in history. The one that always sticks out to me and is at a really, really base level that doesn't get discussed often is language. There's bias in language. The words that you choose to use in your work in writing history is a bias. How you go about writing is a bias. What sources you use is a bias. It's inescapable. So to say someone is too biased is just bonkers. We tend to think that bias is a bad thing. And of course, when someone is trying to present themselves as this ultra pure objective historian, which no one can be, it's incredibly disingenuous. Every historian has a bias, so we should try our best to recognize that. But also when we're reading history, we should try to keep that bias in mind. We're all going to have a bias, so there's no escaping it, whether you're reading history, writing history, or making history. What's interesting to me is this isn't a response to a kind of one-off joke on social media about an avowed Nazi who gets killed doing something dumb. I'm not sure what this person's bias are, but to say this in response to something about Michael Whitman, I think is quite odd. I don't see how being biased against Nazis and the SS is a bad thing. So to say that someone's too biased against Michael Whitman by, saying he's bad and the SS is bad disqualifies them from being a historian is just utter nonsense to me. We should all be saying things like the SS are bad and the Nazis are bad. I mean, people come at me for saying that in different contexts, which again, I still don't fully understand. Supporting these organizations in any way, shape, or form is a good thing. So I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on the application of bias or your thoughts on bias generally. Do you think a lack of bias is achievable? Can one truly be objective? I've clearly made my position clear that I don't think such a thing could ever exist. But I'm interested to hear what everyone has to say. Again, you don't have to have been a historian for decades or a philosopher or a linguist or whatever. I just want to hear what people have to say and their thoughts on this subject. So please leave a comment down below on what you think about bias in history and how that can or cannot be removed when doing this topic.